24 minutes in the books out there in Salt Lake City, where the Jazz, trying to go 8-5, lead the 7-4 Chicago Bulls by 2. Rodney Hood for 3 there, 43-41. Utah has the lead. Welcome, everybody. American Express Halftime Report. Studio J here in Atlanta. Ernie Johnson. Got Charles, Kenny, and Shaq here as well. What do you make of this Utah team? Charles, you know, he heard Kevin McHale talking about thinking that this is a team that can make the playoffs in the Western Conference.
I think they will make the playoffs. He said something. I was working a game with Kevin last week. We had talked about Utah. They play hard every single night. But the one thing watching them in the first half tonight, they miss a point guard. You know, Kenny always talks about putting everybody in their right place. When George Hill is there, who was playing very well.
Yeah, great start.
He puts everybody in their right place. So they're missing George Hill right now. Probably got the best young talent top to bottom. Like Big Cat, Wiggins, those guys are studs. But like top to bottom with Haywood, Hood, Gobert, all those guys, they probably Lyles. But I think they will make the playoffs.
American Express teammates from the first half. We talk about Rudy Gobert and Gordon Hayward, who is their leading scorer on the season. Hayward gives them 23 a night, has 6 in the first half. Gobert has 8, but he does have 10 rebounds. And Shaq, you got your eye on him.
Yeah, Ernie, 8 points, 4 out of 5, 10 points from the field. I like this cat. Young cat, long. Knows how to use his length. You know, he's tall. Of course, he can get this, but you know, he works hard. And I agree with Chuck. Very, very talented. Right here, that's what you want your big men to do. Finish. Don't finger roll. Forget the jump hook right there. And right here, you know, he just works. He's not really a go-to guy yet, but you know, you put that ball up there by the rim, he'll go get it. And on the defense, he's a real shot blocker. You see him right there, seeking out the guy driving. He knew the guy was going to do that. Those long arms, that length. He really uses that length very well. This guy's. In a few years, if he keeps working, we might be hearing his name a lot.
Utah allows 94 points a game. That's number 2 in the NBA. Quinn Snyder, their head coach, says everybody on that Utah side who steps on the floor can guard. They hold Chicago to 29% shooting in the first half. Do you talk about coaches, Kenny, who reflect, or teams that reflect their coach. You played against Quinn Snyder in college, Duke, North Carolina. Do they reflect the kind of player that Quinn Snyder was?
Maybe the school in Durham, they reflect some of that, I think overall
he refuses to say Duke.
I think that it's difficult to say because obviously college basketball is so different from the NBA. The skill sets are so much higher that great defense sometimes you get penalized for. Where in college, if you play great defense, you can stop people. In the NBA, you can't stop people just by playing great defense. You couldn't stop Shaq or Charles just by playing great defense. So I think that's what's different. And so I'm not going to the board now because I actually want to piggyback what he was saying, because he was saying how great they are as a young team. And my question to both of you would be, because there's some young teams out there. There's Utah.
Okay.
There's the Lakers, Portland, Minnesota. Best future in the next year and a half.
In the next year and a half, Utah.
Over Minnesota, Lakers, Portland. And I even throw in the East Coast, I'll throw Detroit and Milwaukee in there.
Well, Portland, Lillard and McCollum, they're older. They're the second best backcourt in the league, in my opinion. But Utah's deep. So we got some good young teams that are not going to win anytime soon. But Portland and Utah are the two teams who are probably going to make playoffs. But, Kenny, to piggyback on the question you asked Kenny, when I was working with McHale last week, we had an in-depth conversation about Utah. And I think what they have done is they said, this is the way we're going to play. They play tremendous defense. Ernie, we always talk about you have to have a style. We're going to, and clearly.
An identity, too.
An identity. Yeah. And this is the style where identity, however you want to phrase it.
And their length allows them to do
Yes.
They drafted and
they draft
people that have length.
Yes.
Yeah, from George Hill at the point guard all the way up to Joe Bear. They all have length, so they play, they can switch, and that's what. So if you say it takes on that personality of what Quinn Snyder's used to and probably Coach Ben to do with Coach K and everyone else, yes, they take on that personality in that length.
Yeah, but I still think they're at least 1 or 2 players away to get into that.
They don't have that guy who I'm like, man, he might get 30 tonight.
Right, yeah.
They don't have that guy that I'm like every night the
2
other
players
team
away.
is worried about.
But I'm saying
They work hard, though.
But I'm saying I think they will make the playoffs. They're not going to win the championship, but I'm saying I think they will make the playoffs.
And to the point about George Hill, too, he's missing his 6th game with a right thumb injury, but did come out of the gate really well, averaging 20 points a game in the early part of this season. Back with more right after this.
Welcome to the American Express Halftime Report. American Express, the official credit card of the NBA.